Radio Turku. Suomen Turku.
You are the
All right. So we have now in our new podcast Noémie and Simon for the Radio Turku interview. And it's the last episode, sadly, and we want to hear their thoughts.
First and last.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, thank
It's
you
a
very
great
much.
honor.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
We
Yeah.
didn't have to move much because we just recorded a podcast right before where we talked to you. So
Lucky.
You know what? We could do it even as a separate episode, now that I think about it.
Really?
Why not? We just
Oh.
publish it like a...
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
true. That's true.
but hey, we're here. So
Good to hear from
Thank you for
Yeah.
inviting us.
thank you for inviting us.
Welcome
and-
to our studio.
Yeah.
So can you introduce yourself
Yeah.
as the host?
Yeah, my name is Zikiwiki, and I'm gonna be the host of this night with my partner in crime, Vilho.
Yes, Vilho here, AllFive, and this is our first podcast that we don't have a name for it yet, but
It's coming.
It's coming soon.
Everything's coming, yeah. And we have two lovely guests tonight here,
Oh, thank you
and
so
we
much.
would like to hear more about you. Can you please tell us about yourselves?
I am Simon.
What a lovely name.
That's. Oh, thank you very much. I am French. I've lived in Turku for 6 years, and I'm super happy to be meeting people who make things in Turku, whatever things they are, big or small, to keep this city alive,
Mm.
make Turku
Great.
great again. I hesitate saying it,
It's
but
still funny to say it for me. Make Turku capital again.
capital again. Yeah. What
And
about you?
I'm Noémie. I'm also French. Very boring. And I've been living in Turku for 5 years. And I think it's an interesting time in my life because I'm graduating next week. Yeah. And I lose my job in 2 weeks. Yeah. No, I don't lose my job. My contract ends, but then basically I'm unemployed and without studies. And I don't know what to do with my life. So it's going to be this summer is going to be the summer of questioning.
But maybe people would like to know why it's your last episode. Why do you need to stop? What's happening? Well,
So Radio Turku has been going on for 2 years, and there are many reasons, but to summarize briefly, so since I'm graduating, I will not access the studio of Obo Academy anymore. Thank you, Obo Academy, for providing these really cool studios that we have
it's
been
true,
using
actually.
for 2 years.
We've never really thanked them properly on air. So thank you, Obo Academy, because without
Yeah.
you, we couldn't have had this studio.
Yeah. And then, since it's a moment in my life where a lot of things are ending, I feel that it makes sense to also stop this project, at least from my side, and to try new things. I want to experiment a bit of different type of art. For instance, I would really like to test a bit more video making in general. And I loved podcasts, but I really miss the stuff that I had in theater that is more creation. So I always alternate between journalism, let's say, and theater or creative writing. And maybe I would like to go a bit more to this. That's why I was thinking, for instance, about short movies, this kind of stuff, because it's something that is missing in Turku. And why not trying to have little movies
Yeah,
here.
movie is acting in movies and such is connected to theater, which is something you know a lot
Yeah.
already. So
Yeah, I'm not an actor or a comedian, but I love to direct projects or write projects. So this would be my
Interesting,
interest.
very interesting. And it's nice to know what you're. It's maybe you don't have so certain plans exactly, but it's
No.
nice to that kind of part in life when you don't have anything. It's always like kind of creative.
yeah, she'll go far.
How about you, Simon?
People who listen to this podcast will hear about Noémie again in other forms,
I'll be back.
one form or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for me it's just like, you know, we have built a big
An empire.
an empire. No, but we've met more and more people who wanted to join us in making this podcast, in making video, and so I think we can keep on doing this in the future. Like, I don't know if it will be in the same form of this podcast or a bit different, but other people are willing to take the lead and are motivated to continue something like that. So it's great that, you know, Noémie gave an impulse, and maybe that some people needed, because a lot of people, including myself, we wouldn't have started it ourselves. But now that Noémie gave us the impulse, maybe it has, I feel like it has motivated a lot of people in our group of friends to continue something in that regard. So yeah, I can't wait to see what we are going to do and what if we manage to get people motivated. That's always the problem, you know, in many things that you do. I've seen it in the past years,
when you don't earn money.
Yeah, when you don't
it's
earn
always
money,
difficult.
like, people always have ideas, and that's great. Everyone has ideas,
Definitely.
but once it's the moment to make them concrete, then it's really hard.
Yeah.
And I also talk for myself, you know, I have crazy ideas about many things all the time, but I very rarely get to the point where I realize them, because it takes time and energy, and, you know, it quickly falls. So yeah. But that's why we need to be like a group, you know.
Yeah.
People together can really
Like the
motivate each other.
Kivipaino posse.
It's we are really blessed that we found a good group, because if there's like even one person in the team sometimes that is not doing anything, it kind of takes the motivation of everyone down so much. And the same goes if everyone is really motivated, it kind of motivates everyone else. Yeah, that's why, for example, Netflix has like this policy that they only hire the best of the best, and they will like they have this policy where they are thinking, their thought is behind it, that they will they think that when everyone is so good there, then good people also want to come work there all the time.
True.
You know.
Watch Adolescence on Netflix.
Yeah, they have really good salary for that. But I just look at some company-related stuff, just wild eye. That's why.
And
Interesting
I
fact.
think it's always good also to check what is the creative market at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. But nice. So who came up with the name? The name is really good.
Really, the name
And the logo also.
The logo has been drawn by our dear Maria Sabashvili.
Yeah.
Basically, we were a group from theater, and she has always been drawing our posters for theater. And I asked her, would you like to do this for Radio Turku?
Nice.
You can find her on Instagram. She always does cool stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, really nice artist.
Cool.
And since we've always have this obsession for the posonka, so it was just logical that Maria would draw a posonka, and that
because it's so
we use
ugly.
It. Yeah, but
so
it's
funny to have it.
it's like
Cute.
yeah,
ugly.
it's ugly but cute, and it's ours, you know. It's
so weird. For me, it's a bit like it doesn't fit at all Finland.
Mhm.
I don't understand why it's there.
or
because
even Turku. It fits even less Turku.
I don't understand why it's really an anomaly, and for me that's hilarious. That it's in the middle.
And when it's
And it has a butt.
anomaly, a thing that's anomaly that doesn't fit is always interesting and
Radio
raise
Turku
interest.
was an anomaly a bit.
a
A bit of color in this dark Finnish world.
And you know, it reminds me very much of like, let's say someone would have crazy idea to make a rave related event in a classical music hall,
or someone
know.
who is a cactus.
yeah, you know, this kind of thing. We love that kind of random thing, because it's always like food for magical events.
Yeah,
Great
but it's
thing.
really good the city has some kind of like a logo, like concrete stuff. Like we noticed that when we didn't have Kivipaino before that, we did a bunch of events like Metaverse. We did like Brutal Bunker. The names are really good. Like what was it? Brain Dance. Like these kind of events, but there was nothing. It wasn't the place. It was just the event which passed by. There was nothing you could like actually take or touch. You know, physical stuff. And the porsanka is physical, so it's really nice.
Yeah, and it's very.
We should have done merch.
Yeah, and it's very
That-
visual. Like, you know, it's pink, it's bright, it's like
Yeah, true.
it's a great logo. It works
Yeah.
really well.
And it cannot exist in another place. That's also the
Yeah.
practical stuff. But it's a brand, so we cannot use it, sadly.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. Next question.
Yes, dear host.
Yeah, we have a bunch of questions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go on. This was the most intense question I've ever heard.
Yeah. What is one topic like you maybe did discuss or did no? What is no? Wait,
I have too many questions in my brain now.
At the same time.
You know, he's watching you like, what is that?
You know, like when you ask a question, it's always like how you ask it is so important. But just
It's a good training.
yeah, what I mean is, what is the favorite topic you like to talk about? This is something I have asked sometimes people, and they don't usually know what is their favorite topic. You would think probably that we would love to talk about music or something, but it depends always, you know, about person.
Cactus.
So what are your cactus? It's a very nice topic.
No, I know. And you? Do you know?
About like what?
I
we
know
mean.
my favorite topic.
Well, I don't know if I know my favorite topic, but in the context of this podcast, what I've really liked here is just to hear people random stories. I mean, when you walk in the door of the studio, you don't know what you're going to talk about, and in the middle of the conversation, you ask anecdotes to the people, like the people we had here. They always opened up a bit more and more during the interviews, and then they start telling their anecdote, and that's I don't know if you can call it a topic, but that's what I like, hearing people telling stories about their life and like things that could appear as random and boring to anyone, but then actually when you put them in context and let people tell their story the way they want, it's always sort of interesting. It's
Yeah.
always brings some things to you and to the conversation. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite connected, but for me, it's really the social part, like everything that brings sympathy. And for instance, that's why I really liked the last episode that we recorded with so the girls from Turku together, because we talked a lot about being a woman, being in society, emotions. How do you create relationships with people? And I'm a big fan of Dr. Love's shows. So I love when people express their emotions. And for instance, I think that men in general are pretty secret with their emotions. So that's why I love Dr. Love shows, because then I understand better what's happening in people's head. And I love when we gave enough space to our guests to tell something intimate. This is the best part, because this is what personally as a listener I'm looking for when I listen to an interview. The part that I can relate to and understand, oh, okay, I didn't think this could be so hard, or I didn't think this could be so motivating. And, yeah.
Interesting. Both of you had like an answer like that is kind of wide, you know, that you had more like emotional stories or something like that, and you had personal experiences, what I understood. But I did meant more like if it's because usually what I have noticed that people love to talk about topics that they know a lot about. It doesn't really matter if it's something that, for example, me, I grew up in somewhere where there was religion a lot in our household, and I read a lot of religious books, and that's why it's one of my favorite topics to talk about, religion and philosophy. Even though it's not really, I don't enjoy it, because it's like sometimes people get angry and stuff, but it's still like because you know about it, so you want to talk about it, you know. That's
well, I mean, I don't want to copy you there, but if you want to get very specific, in my life there's two subjects I love to talk about and read about all the time. It's first mythologies, and I don't want to say religion, but you know, people's belief and culture, and especially minority culture. Yeah, mythology, ancient mythology, paganism, all these things I'm passionate about. And the second thing is languages and linguistics, because this is my background. I have a master's in linguistics, and I'm a super nerd about languages. I'm obsessed. Like every time I walk in the street and I hear someone speak a language that I don't recognize, I'm like, oh, what is that? And it will obsess me like for days. Oh my god, what was this person speaking? I need to know. And I watch Google videos like, oh, did it sound like? No, it's not this one.
Wow.
And I love languages so much and linguistics and.
For the anecdote, Simon created many alphabets and is capable at our writing circle to write in its invented alphabet.
Yeah.
Like spontaneously. Like he knows it so well that he can write in a imaginary alphabet.
That's how much of a nerd I am. Actually,
That's
I was
so crazy
great.
to me.
I was pissed when I was a kid because it's always been my thing to invent my own language and my own alphabet and write in it, and I thought it was my thing. And then when I was a teenager, I read Tolkien and Lord of the Rings, and I was super pissed at Tolkien because I was like, fuck, this guy had the same idea than me 70 years ago. Like, I thought it was my thing. And then, of course, I read, and I remember that it has been a thing for thousands of years, that many people have created their own language and alphabet.
Yeah.
But yeah, language are fascinating. It's really something that's super unique about us, human, and the mechanics of I could go for like several podcast episodes about it.
Yeah, and I could also specify that I still insist that I love relationships because at least in my household, my mom is a psychiatrist, so psychology in general is a very important topic for me. And this thesis that I have written for my degree is about, for instance, death anxiety. So I think a lot about death in general, like transition. But for me, all the psychological reactions to, for instance, threats or how do you express anxiety, especially through words, through literature, these are very important topics to me. And that's why I love to discuss about relationships and how emotions are expressed in general, because they are deeply connected to psychology, which is a big passion, at least for me.
Yeah, really interesting. Definitely, both of you had really interesting answers.
Yeah, and also connected to our studies, I think.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
true.
I did also after couple of years, I have this one friend who I usually talk to, and I did finally manage to communicate emotion.
Tell me.
Yeah,
I
said I'm sad. That was it.
Oh.
Yeah. But
I managed.
Great step.
Yeah, she was like, okay. And I was like, huh? That's it?
Pat. But congratulations, because I think we are living in a world where men don't have the space to express it. And I think, for instance, that art is one of the best way to express emotions. With music, you can speak about everything. Would that be through the music itself or the lyrics or the way you sing, the way you interpret it or live, how you share it. So that's why I love art in general, and congratulations for expressing your emotions.
And the catharsis. That's why I love so much metal music and going to metal concerts, because it's so cathartic to me. Because I have, for personal reasons, I have a lot of anger in me. And this is one super good thing about music and concert, is like all this anger in me that I have all the time about so many things, and that I have to keep. When you are in a concert, you can scream, you can move, you can, well, in even some metal concerts, you can even punch people. They consent usually. I will not
go.
They consent to that, and it's super. Yeah, the cathartic power of music is the best thing ever.
Yeah, just came to my mind a question about the languages. So languages sometimes they are like when some things are lost in life. Like if a language dies, it's kind of sad always.
About 3 of them every week.
Every week, 3.
The linguist is speaking.
In the world, at least 3 or 4 or something. Maybe the numbers have changed in the past 10 years, but 10 years ago when I did my studies, it was like that everywhere, somewhere in the world.
I'm the worst because I think it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like I think, for instance, that
don't care.
French, Finnish, all the European languages. Spanish will survive most likely, but for instance, so many people are sad about it. But I'm like, it's okay. Like
but I don't.
Why?
I don't agree.
Why?
Yeah, but because
keep it so strongly with the past. Like you can also move on.
Well, for me, it's the same question, and language diversity brings a lot to people because it's their identity. And
But there will be still diversity. For instance, there are many nuances between the types of English languages, many nuances.
yeah, but that's the thing. You can never standardize a language because you will always have dialects and language developing from it. So you
For
will
me,
always.
it's okay that French disappears.
For me, it's not, and I feel bad for the thousands of languages in the world who only have 10 people speaking them, because they have an identity and a culture that is linked to this language, and if their language die, their culture basically die, and maybe one day you will have the whole world speaking, okay, let's say English, even if I don't think so, the whole world speaking English, and oh yeah, in this corner of Finland, there people speak, everyone speak English, of course, like everywhere in the world, but in that area, you know, they have this weird tradition. Oh, it's and that's the only thing that survives. But if you keep the language, if you keep the languages alive, you keep the cultures that goes with it alive as well, and the traditions and the beliefs, and the and you might be surprised as well that keeping endangered and minority languages alive is also helping with the environment, because there are languages.
We started him.
There are knowledges, for example, in the Amazon rainforest, some minority culture and language have encoded in them informations about the plants and the animals, and if the language dies, then we lost a lot of information that those people have had for thousands of years that we wouldn't need to research again because they already have them.
Go to witchcraft school.
Witchcraft, yeah. And yeah, no, diversity of language is important just as much as diversity of animals and plants and humans. And
more about linguistic or
yeah, that's interesting, because like I was thinking, I wanted to hear your opinion about that. How do you feel about them dying? Because I mean, in the end, everything is temporary in life.
Yeah, I'm a bit in that.
There is more species dying, like animal species dying, than languages all the time. And I can imagine someone who is in the animals are like, oh, every day someone, like it's a sad. It's always sad when we lose things, kind of.
yeah, but I mean, we know we will lose certain things. I mean, of all the languages on Earth, we won't save most of them, but the few of them that we can save are worth saving, I think. And I don't know, I don't want to be cynical.
I think it's very interesting because this is the main difference between Simon and I, that Simon is really attached to the past, and me, I'm constantly dealing with problems with creating new stuff. And that's why I think it works well between us, because we have two different visions of life and creation in general, because Simon is always, no, we need to conserve this, we need to protect that, and you're like, oh, we don't need it, we can just create new stuff. And it's a problem also because I tend to forget that it has been done before, so I start everything from scratch, and I lose a lot of time when everything was already prepared.
Yeah, if you don't care about the past and keep some things of the past alive, you cannot build future stuff on that base, I think.
Or you lose a lot of time, like me.
Yeah. I mean, for example, a good example nowadays is what's happening in the US and many parts of the world with the rise of fascism that's happening again.
Fascism.
Yeah. Some people are fighting against it because they know that in the past this has happened already. But imagine that tomorrow we reset everyone's memory on Earth and no one remembers anything that has happened before the past 10 or 20 years. Then everything will happen the same way.
But it's still happening the same way. We know that there was fascism 100 years ago and we do it again. Like, I think we never learned.
Many people,
clearly we never learned.
But there are so many people, including us, who know what happened 100 years ago that gives us weapon to fight against it.
I completely disagree.
I want to stay hopeful.
I just visited so I was in Poland last week and I visited the Museum of World War II. I can tell you that all the signs are here again. We accuse the immigrants. We accuse specific minorities. And then we start to invade a neighbor. We don't react. And then,
but back then, for World War...
That's my worst fear, World War III. I can tell you my anxiety at the moment.
During World War III, the World War II, this thing had never happened before, ever. So people were not seeing the signs. But for
The
us,
war has always happened before.
no, not something like World War II. Like
Because
this
we
was,
have bigger guns. But
this was huge. And I think that the fact that we know now, we have a memory of the past, that it happened, I'm not saying that we will prevent World War III, but we have now more weapon to prevent it from happening than what they had in World War II.
we have the weapons, but we don't use them well.
I don't know.
I'm a pessimist, so
Yeah, I'm usually a pessimist as well. I don't know why right now I'm so optimistic.
Mm.
Maybe it's my spirit of contradiction because I want to
Because we're
disagree with you.
But yeah, we completely moved from Radio Turku, but
Yeah.
you got the
Yeah.
spirit at
To the
least.
war.
That's what you get if you just launch us.
Yeah, it's good to
the
see.
problem is that we
That's
can-
what it is about. Like, we wanted to hear your opinion. But I have never been in a panel with the actual literalist, or what is it?
Literalist?
Linguist?
That's so
Language
cute.
literalist.
I
That's
love
nice.
that
So I have to
word.
ask
Oh,
this
wow.
one question.
Literalist.
I have this one question. I have thought about this, that languages, like one of the most important languages, I think, in my opinion, is hand language, which I think, what do you think? Should it, like, I have thought that if I had to choose, maybe it could be like
The
that we
universal.
just, that could be the one that we teach everyone,
Yeah.
and then English or some other language, then we would have like because we also lose when we have so many, then we can't communicate so well with each other, and we also lose in that we learn more stuff. Our brain capacity just, like, I know that it sounds sad that if there is just one language, but maybe it is for the better.
But that's why
But-
you have music to communicate throughout the world.
yeah.
But would be cool a common sign language.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but actually, I thought about this. Yeah, like sign language is it's very efficient. The problem is that you would have to invent one for everyone because
and
right
Esperanto didn't work.
now
We
I
tried
don't like
common
Esperanto.
One YouTube video that is like, this is the one you show to every baby.
And all
Yeah.
the kids have to learn. It's
But-
a bit
but the thing
dictator
is, like-
style. Huh?
I just hurt myself. Like I've been playing so much with that little metal thing that now I'm
no.
bleeding for you guys.
Okay.
Oh,
This
damn.
is dramatic.
Doctor.
But yeah, the problem is that the problem, I don't know.
Stop playing with it.
It's just that there is a sign language for every country in the world.
Yeah,
So we would
And the alphabet.
would need one main one for everyone. But yeah,
Have you learned sign language? No.
The
No,
Finnish
not
Do you,
at all.
do you, how many languages do you speak? Because for sure Finnish, Swedish, English, and then
No, I only have Finnish and English. I'm really bad at Swedish.
I know Finns. I don't speak Swedish, and then you can have conversation.
Mm.
No.
Yeah, I speak Finnish, English, and Kurdish.
and that's all.
That's all. Yeah, I
That's
just
already
take my
big.
hands like it's so many, but
Yeah, you
it's
made
not
us
so many. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom do speak like Persian, and my dad speak Arabic. So I have
Oh,
heard
okay.
both of them a lot, and I can
Okay.
understand some of them, especially Arabic, because I read a lot Quran like when I was.
Yeah.
Imagine if Quran in the,
Was
in the
sign
future
language.
in the future was only if it was only in English. Like imagine in a world where everything is in English, you would not have Quran in Arabic anymore. Wouldn't that be a bit sad?
Yeah, it's true. Arabic is so nice. It looks so good.
would lose so many intricacy that you can only
You got me, Simon.
you can only say it in Arabic, for example. And if your parent had raised you only in English, you would never heard Kurdish or Persian or anything. Would you think you would have missed some art in your life?
Sure, but then there would be other art. I mean, like, if there was like just English, maybe we would have those Arabic words that are not in English language currently. Maybe we would have more, because there is like 5 words, for example, that describe something sometimes that is just one word in English. Maybe we would have those in English then also, That's
It's
that's
just
my point.
mandatory sign language, and
Yeah.
then you can
Mandatory
add
sign
other
language. No, actually, I've been following lately this person on Twitch, French Twitch, who is doing every day teaching a bit of French sign language. I really like
stuff. Okay.
sign language.
He's
is
really a
really
Twitcher, this dude.
yeah, Twitch. I
All the
really
time.
recommend people on Twitch. Sadly, there are not many people on Twitch
But
who
in
sp-
France,
who
we have
speak
them.
Finnish. But it's a really great platform.
Yeah.
So that's a tree.
All the good French YouTubers, they went to
That's
Twitch.
a tree. That's to forget.
Wasn't it like happy?
Yeah, happy.
Yeah, I remember.
Happy to meet you.
Nice.
Oh, okay, professional.
Happy
Watch
to
Twitch.
meet you guys.
Maybe the next career.
Yeah, I'm not doing it too much. I don't want to spread blood on my shirt.
Okay. But you can't do it too much.
Yeah.
No, this is a bit
Do
too
it
much.
Happy.
A bit too happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Exactly.
yeah.
But does Vilho has a question for us or?
Yes, I have one regarding to Radio Turku and the past of it. This is kind of embarrassing, but
But
I
I've
have
never
to ask
listened
that,
to.
No. I have listened to new ones, but
We know.
how, like, when was the first podcast you did, and was it like? Has it always been like this easy for you and this easygoing, or were the first ones or the first seasons or whatever, like, were they harder, were they like really different? Have you come
Never
like
thought about
a
this.
long way, or because now it feels
Mm.
kind of like it's really easy to be here as a guest, and personally I don't like interviews, and I stress out even like when someone asks me questions that I have to write. Like I have 1 month to write to some questions like interviews. I hate that also. So, but here it's kind of easy to be here.
Oh, that's
So,
good to hear.
Has it always been like this, or have you been like developing?
I only have super good memories of the very first episode.
Yeah.
It was
We
very.
were with people we knew well.
Yeah,
also.
yeah. But I think that we right from the beginning, from the very first episode, we were already super relaxed.
Mm.
Like, I mean, we were not really stressed or anything about doing it. It was very natural, right?
Yeah. At least since we started with group of friends, we could train, and then the hardest episode that I have done was the last video episode, so for the municipal, because we interviewed one candidate named Paco Diop. So the other one was Ville Vaurola. Every time. And Ville, I know him well because I do theater with him. But Paco, it was the first time, and I had read a lot of info about him beforehand. And so when he came, I don't know why I stressed, because like it's a grown-up man and me.
Yeah.
I hope I will do it well. And so when I started the interview, I panicked and I forgot his name that I knew perfectly. But and so I started the interview with, oh my God, I need to read my notebook and watch him. And for sure he had seen me. So we discussed about it afterwards. But I was like, man, I'm so sorry. I look really like, you took a random dude. And I interviewed
But he's
him.
an impressive man. I mean, he's tall, and when he speaks, he speaks very like directly. He knows what he says, and like that could be impressive.
Yeah,
that can be
me
impressive.
with
yeah.
like older men in general, I have this, that you can notice that the guests in Radio Turku are most of the time young. And when it's older people, it's women, because I'm a bit uncomfortable with older men. So
Yeah, and
fun fact.
80% of the time it's people we know more or less. Like for the Radio Turku, like this format, it's less true for what you did with At Work or this kind of episode where maybe you met more people that you didn't know beforehand. But most of the time when we were recording together, at least
We had met them at some point.
Yeah,
makes
or
it
heard
easier.
about them, or for example, you've been to Kivipaino party. Me too, but I didn't meet you guys. So yeah, that makes it a lot easier when you know the guest a bit before already.
Yeah, and about interviews in general. So I always have been in newspapers, the student newspapers. In high school, I was the director of the student newspaper, and then I was writing regularly at the university. And so I'm used to interviews in general. And I was in a journalist association where they were giving us some little press card. And basically, if you are persuasive enough, you can enter a lot of places with that card. So I entered festivals for free thanks to it, etc. And it really forced me to be really bold about, no, but I'm a journalist, it's fine, etc. And if you're confident, people let you enter. And so I could interview cool people. And that taught me that being a journalist, it's a bit of a role. It's like theater in the end, because if you are prepared, then you will be confident. And I always prepare the episode. I take notes beforehand. If I know that the guest is a bit impressive, I do more research. So
Thank you.
no, but I went to your events.
Just kidding.
No. And the last thing is that I love to interview my friends. And so when I decided to leave for Finland the first time, I had a mic and I decided to interview all of my friends in France. And I've been doing this through times when I met interesting people for years. And so now I have about 60 recording of people. It's like portraits of people where I ask basic questions like, how do you feel now? Where do you see your future? And my idea is to record the same people every 5 years. So to do a progressive portrayal of these people. And I know that some I will never see them again, so I will never have the following. But some of them I shot already the second part, and it's so interesting to see how people evolved through times. And it's something that is very emotional. Or some people told me really very intimate things, and I feel it's so precious when people share a bit about themselves like this. And let's see where this project goes. I hope that I will be able in 5 years to release maybe with 3 interviews. It will be 15 years. It could be already cool.
Would be nice.
Yeah.
And where would you release these?
Arte. In French. In French.
Do you know Arte? You don't have Arte in Finland.
No,
it's just
a
Germany.
German-French TV channel where because they released a documentary that I loved when I was a teenager, where they filmed people like this for every 5 years, teenagers. It was to show the privileges of higher social classes. So they film rich kids, basically, and they show that 20 years after, they still end up on their feet, even if some of them had really big issues in their life because mom and dad can provide. And it was to show the disparity between social classes. I love. For French people, Une cuillère en argent dans la bouche. I think that's the title.
Okay.
Voila.
Silver spoon.
Yeah. So I love to interview people since many years, let's say.
Yeah. And you're good at it, I would say. Because you're interested in people.
Yeah,
you like people.
I'm curious. That's why with Finns it's always more difficult to make you speak.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's harder with Finns, so that makes it more interesting because you really want...
More challenge.
Once again, watch out to... a shout out to Hazel. I will never forget Hazel talking about cracking the coconut. Like, Hazel, if you're listening to this, I use your metaphor on a daily basis nowadays.
Cracking the Finnish coconut.
She said that getting to know a Finn is like cracking a coconut. It's super hard.
Episode 2.
But once it's open, then you have this wonderful liquid. Okay, forget it.
But thank you for this question.
Yeah, nice question. Thank you very much. You're professional already.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I feel professional already, especially when you guys started like a little bit debating. Was very interesting.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, now my job is just to be quiet.
That's the French. That's the French people, you know. Yeah. Even if you like someone, you need to disagree on something. Otherwise,
oh my god, and Italians also.
Oh come on! Oh my god.
Even worse. But
Anyway.
Did we answer well?
Yes,
you did, but actually you forgot to answer the first one. So when was the first?
Excuse me.
2
years ago.
23, yes.
Yeah, summer 2023.
Right after we
discovered the studio.
Yeah, and right after we did a fantastic theater project again, initiated by Noémie, and
The Guilty.
Yeah,
was the theater play.
I wish it had been recorded. It was a great play, and maybe we'll get to play it again.
We didn't film.
Maybe we will get to play it again one day with different people.
I think we want to do more theater. We will have a theater in Mökki weekend this summer. So
I can't wait.
Do theater. Theater is the best.
That's another thing. Like I know whenever I talk, like we've been interviewed by a couple of other people, and we talk to, and I always feel like I'm just like. In French, we say passer la pommade, like spread cream on the back of Noémie.
In his region, because not in mine. Passer la pommade.
Je te passe de la pommade. Like, it means like I always feel like I'm always talking too much about Noémie's great, Noémie did that. Noémie, but it's true. It's true. So there's this podcast, but also the theater. I never really cared much about theater before, and following Noémie. And a couple of other friends, we started the theater, and now I'm crazy about theater and I want to do more. So again, everyone should have a friend like Noémie who just kind of forces you to do things that you've never cared about before, and then you get into it. And
But that's actually one of my problems. I love to start projects, and I'm really good at making people go together, even people who have never met before, people who have never done this activity before. But then I'm so bad at making it continue when I leave. Because I have this issue that I don't leave enough space to people, and I know that I need to work on it. So it's something I need to learn, how to make people feel confident enough that it's not my project, it's a group project. And I tried to do it with Radio Turku, and we will see if it worked this time. But I know that it's one of my flow that I'm too controlling.
Yeah. But that's like like in the Radio Turku, for sure I would see that you have been talking more usually, but it needs, you are also like movies have main character, and then there is the second main character
Who will
there is
become main
comedic laugh, some comedic relief sometimes,
comic relief,
and the black guy who
The
dies
sidekick.
first usually.
That
It's a
usually
horror
people
movie.
prefer, because
Yeah.
every time I have feedback, it's about Simon. Oh, Simon said this, or
What?
yeah.
Oh
I
my
had a lot.
god! People are feeding back me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a series nowadays. You have a popular series, the first popular series that everyone loves, like Noémie, and then you have the spin-offs.
They never say, Noémie, you have been so funny, or they say, Simon has been so funny, or I learned linguistic stuff with Simon.
I wouldn't be anything in this media without you.
Yeah.
Talking about linguistics.
there should be definitely one episode fully on linguistics, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, you want to
Simon?
hear one last quick thing about
my
why
God.
Yeah, tell us
minority
something
language
interesting, yeah.
minority languages? Okay, one
Yeah.
of my best friends in Paris, he's a PhD now in linguistics, and she has been going on a tiny island in the Vanuatu. Do you know Vanuatu? It's in the Pacific.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No,
I
I
know.
don't know.
It's an archipelago in the Pacific, and she has spent months on a tiny island there, an island that is no more than 100 meters square.
Yeah.
People live there, they speak their language, and she recorded their language before it disappears. And she discovered, while recording their language and having them speak their language that only them speak, that they had stories that exist only in their language. And these stories were like these story about their mythology, their god, something that a god that got angry and something. And after recording different version of this story in that specific language, she realized that actually this mythologic stuff was telling the tale of a catastrophic explosion of a volcano nearby that actually basically created a part of the Vanuatu. And following that, she got into contact with volcanologists, specialists of volcano.
Oh, wow.
And she was able, thanks to this story that exists only in that minority small language, bring information to the volcanologists to guide their theories about what happened to that volcano.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's so
because
cool.
language encode, again, specific stories and songs and information that can exist only in one language. That's sorry, I stopped there.
But it's interesting. It's like griots in tribes in some
Yeah,
African
in
country
Africa,
that
yeah.
is like
The griot.
narrating the story of the ancestors,
Yep.
and you can go super long.
Yeah, and you and trust me, the past holds so much information.
Yeah, but I love fairy tales, mythology also, but
Mhm.
I just consider them fake.
Now, please stop me, strangle me, anything if I talk about language again.
Actually, I have one more question. But this is
Okay,
a small one. You mentioned that you have this own language that you can type.
Yeah.
Can you
Oh.
talk it?
I'm a bit out of practice, but I could.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Go
Say,
ahead.
Could you give
What
us a
we're waiting
sample?
for.
Rauw van healthy. It means I love you.
Oh, this romantic man. I'm sure
Beautiful.
he wrote love letters.
Rauw van healthy. I
Ooh.
was
Yeah, like,
obsessed when I was a kid. I was obsessed with language such as Faroesian or Icelandic, so I wanted a language that sounds similar. And yeah, that's just
But look, the public is there. You should really, like, when you start your first episode, you should have something about linguistic, how DIY, how to make your own language.
Yeah, I've been wanting to actually make some kind of like workshop about how to make your own language.
You should suggest it to Turku together.
Isn't there enough languages already? Don't we have enough?
More.
Yeah,
but imagine the cover of Kivipaino, you have some words that only the people who know can read.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been...
The location is in this language, right?
And you have to decipher it.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
The thing is, like Tolkien, you talked about Tolkien, who made the Lord of the Rings. That's the guy, right? It's great that he made language because you need it for the story, you know.
Yeah.
There wasn't, you know, what he describes, there was not those stuff, you know. So it's good. But if all of us starts to come up with languages, like...
but that's the same as writing a novel in the end. It's like sometimes people write, for instance, I write a lot of text, but it's for no one except but me. You don't have to share.
It's in language of English or French.
But no one will read it, so what's the point of inventing a story, for instance?
It's not. There's many reasons for writing. You know, it's not that no one will read it. You write it in your brain. You know.
But he's writing it also.
Yeah, I use my own language to write my personal diary that no one else will read, and the thing that is fun and why I would recommend everyone to at least try to make up your own language. It's not like you don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to advertise it or teach it to people. It can just be yours. But it's like it's a super introspective tool. Like when you develop your own language, you discover stuff about yourself. Like, oh, why do I want to say it that way? Why does it feel natural for me that this object, like the word for this object sounds wrong to me in every other language, but it sounds right in mine. You discover things about yourself and how your brain works, and sometimes it's just, you know, it feels good for no reason, and that's the best part of it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us, when you're on the phone with someone, you grab a pen and you start to doodle something that makes no sense.
Or what?
And
that's very common.
Yeah. For me, creating a language is exactly the same thing. It just feels good for me to say, oh, okay, maybe I want to say it that way, and it has no purpose. It just feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so nice. I really think you should do an episode about this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, this one is the short question, or maybe the longest. Like, do you guys believe that there is like do you believe that there is free will in this when you do this writing, when you are on the phone? Do you think that you are in control, or is it all subconscious? And for example, myself, I am strongly believing in determinism, so I don't believe anything. I think that everything is related to the past. Like everything keeps rolling like a ball. You know, if my mom ate a banana when she was small, it was because my grandma put it there, the tree, and she just started eating it. Now I love bananas. Next day I throw a banana there and someone slips and they break their legs. Next generation don't have legs. You know?
I used to be determinist exactly like you until I started to read science magazine that talk about a quantum theory.
Yeah.
And quantum theory basically tells you that a lot of things are super random, actually, and that kind of shakes a bit determinism. And I still very often, when I think, go by the same reasoning as you, you know, because every action we do, you can trace it back to something in the past that can be traced back. And that way you build determinism. But still, the scientists, when they observe the particle, sometimes they do completely a random thing, like you would expect this action to create this reaction. But no, this molecule appears somewhere else. So now I'm not so sure anymore. And about the doodle when we are on the phone, I completely think that it's our subconscious speaking. But, you know, I think I'm not super good in psychology or psychiatry or Freud or all the things.
Or quantum physics.
But the thing I feel like is that you have your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. There is some kind of like area or wall between them. And sometimes they talk to each other, sometimes they can't talk to each other, and your subconscious bypasses your consciousness and talk directly. And that's what happens when you doodle things on the phone without thinking. You know, your subconscious is talking. And that's why. And then after I will stop.
No. I
That's
want to read
interesting.
about quantum stuff now.
That's why I really love using, and I'm interested in people who use divination cards. You know, like tarot.
Yeah.
Tarot, because for me it's not necessarily about magical spirit talking to you and giving answer to your question with cards.
Yeah.
It's actually your subconscious talking to you, because no matter which card you will put and no matter in which order, your subconscious will find meaning in what they say,
definitely.
and it will give you an answer, because so many questions that you have about your life right now, it's your conscious mind who have those questions, but your subconscious already have the answers to these questions.
Yeah.
You just cannot speak to your subconscious all the time. And things like that, like divination card, is a way to talk to your subconscious. And but with the meaning you will find in the cards, people think they talk to a god or to a spirit. Well, actually, you kind of do talk to someone, but you talk to yourself, hidden part of yourself. So that's why I really... And as a creative process is great also when you want to write a book or a story. You just take a pack of cards, of these cards, and you roll them in any order, and you will find it will tell you a story, and you can expand from that.
Yeah, I love the idea that you find the meaning. And for instance, theater, I think it's a way of, let's say, every time I write a text, I write it spontaneously. I think I'm telling, for instance, the story of Simon. And then I give this text to comedians who all have their own interpretation. And then I'm like, I thought it was the story of Simon, but actually it was the story connected to, I don't know, an argument that I had with Ziki. And I create connections based on people incarnating in person my previous emotions or ideas, and that's why I think if you write a text, it's super good it's difficult, but to give it to read to someone else, because when you hear it out loud, you realize so many things, like about your subconscious or you thought it was clear, but in fact there was a deeper meaning hidden.
Yeah.
And usually other people can see some of these things better than you. And that's actually what happened with your plays, the play that Noémie has written and directed, and that our friend, played. We kind of interpreted them
completely differently.
Completely as what you intended, and it turned out probably to be something different than what you expected, but it was great.
Yeah, and the cool part is that we did it with two groups at the same time, the same play, one group in French, one group in English, two different groups, and the one group decided to change the end of the play because they didn't like it. So I think that shows how theater allows people to decide as a group what they want to make out of a story or out of art. And that's what I love in this this form of art, that, okay, there is a play, but if you want to make the main character a woman, a man, change the context, historical context or not, you can completely put more music, more light. It can change completely the meaning of the play.
And one thing I didn't expect was, like, when we were right before the day we played the play, we were in the background, dressing. I remember I was with Marjan and Ville. I felt like we were a sport team ready to play our basketball game, right before the match, preparing. And I felt exactly like that.
I miss this.
The same fusion you have. Like, you're not just one person and one other. You really are a group. Like, there's a hive mind.
And if one comedian is missing, the whole play will be damaged. And so that's the same with your project.
I was thinking about you as well.
If one DJ is missing, it can work, but the balance that you had planned is shaken.
Yeah, and it's always nice to be, like, groups are nice, and also it's nice to be a personality that is not your own. Like, when I'm a DJ, I sometimes have different like, if we go to a wedding, we have different clothes. We feel so different than if we go to Subway to eat a burger or something,
And you behave different. Have you noticed as soon as you put a costume for a wedding, you behave differently, even if you don't really think
it's crazy.
And as a DJ, you're on stage. You're a performer also. You have a costume, you have a name.
You have cactuses.
But just the fact to have a nickname, it changes a lot your personality.
Actually, I'm quickly reversing the podcast. But that makes me think like Zikiwiki, you have the cactuses.
Yeah.
But Vilho, what is your version of Wiki's cactuses for you? What would it be?
I had the story that I had to come up with some name because I did music like different, like more commercial music back in the day, and my name was something that even though I had a hit song, I was still, when you type my name, I was like not in the top 100 in search results on Spotify or YouTube or everything. You really had to type
I went
everything.
to listen.
Yeah.
So then I had to make a new name when I started to make like techno music, and then I just like circled every name around, and every single name felt like pushed or like cringe or like
too much.
Like
yeah.
I don't want to be like DJ explosions or anything like that, like too forced. And then
Boom boom DJ.
then someone, I don't remember who, but someone, or then it just might be me, but
My
thought
second me.
but thought that Vilho starts with the letter V, so it's like 5, like in like Roman numerals. So
Yeah.
then Niklas, one of the guys in Kivipaino, he said to me that, okay, well that's a good start, and now just think of every like small words to like connect it with like, and then I started putting like small like words in front of it or like after it, and then just all 5 felt good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have like any deep meaning, but it sounded good. And then I did the check that there is no other artist on that name, or basically there is nothing on that name except some kind of lighting brand.
Okay.
Is all 5 or something like that, but it's like nothing.
Is 5 your favorite number?
No, it's actually 9.
It's easy to change our perspective. Our brains are very easy to manipulate. So if you want that, you could just keep telling yourself 5 is the best number. 5, 5.
5.
And then that at least connects with that. Why is it 9?
I can't remember that.
Well, then forget it. It's 5 now.
Yeah, okay, it got to be
Look,
5.
the dictator comes back.
I just have to say a couple of times it's 5, and he
5.
starts to believe it. You know?
Okay, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not. It's just. It's not dictatoring. It's persuasion, but it's for
But not
the.
dictator.
It's persuasion for better. At least, in my opinion, better. I don't know what is better. Of course, nobody knows.
Convincing.
Yeah,
You
better
can
is
say.
sometimes worse.
Yeah, a French philosopher, Montesquieu,
No.
said, better is the enemy of good.
Yeah, and about the names, I think that for future project I will take a nickname. It's been a while that I'm thinking about it, and I would like to take a nickname.
Yeah.
What would you choose if you?
For me?
Yeah.
I already have a
What is
nickname.
it? Ah, yeah, it's Eurismus.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that I've used all the time. What?
Always with letters, you see.
Yeah. And
His
you would
name
be like
inverted. I think it would be it would be Nom or
Nom,
Nono,
no
which
H.
are my nicknames, or Bertie, which is
Noémie
another
H.
nickname. Bertie is cool, but I think it's taken.
Bertie.
Bertie.
Yeah, it sounds like someone would have taken it.
Yeah. So Nom maybe.
Nom.
All my nicknames.
Nom. Nomhub.
Because the problem is that people need to call you with that nickname.
Yeah. You need to get ready to hear it a lot.
I need to stop having friends and make new ones. So
No!
they don't know my real name. But guys, it's been 2 hours and I really think I will make 2 episodes.
Yeah, let's just quickly talk about politics.
Okay.
And we are super ready
2 more
because
hours.
we have done a lot of interviews. Oh,
Yep.
Can I
I-
do one more here?
Yeah,
like
let's
to
go
round
on
it up.
at this point.
And we can keep this like short, even like 1-word answers if you want. But
Don't
I
hate us, listeners.
I have a question for all of you, for Siki also.
Oh.
Well, now we have learned that you like language stuff, and we like music and stuff like that. But
And Noémie likes emotions.
Yeah, and
but
books.
And theater.
do you have like, what is some kind of like topic that you would like to talk about in podcast? And the catch here is that with us, we can talk about music and raves for like 5, 6, 7 podcasts, like endlessly. So what is some kind of topic that you can actually squeeze into like 1 hour, or even like it's four people us in here. So if you trying to get 1 hour podcast, it's 15 minutes each. So some kind of interesting topic, but like, do you have anything
Super
like
short.
some like really specific?
Do we have to do it together?
If you want.
Because I think that one thing I would really like to discuss in a podcast with Simon is that both of us, we have a very... You will tell me if it's okay to... if I keep on. But we have a difficult family history.
Yeah.
And it's something that we discovered very late, after being friends for years. And that we had some connections in the way, some traumas in our childhood. And for instance, it's something that in the podcast, I talk about personal stuff, but I never get too intimate. And at some point, I was thinking that theater helped me to express these things, but I would like sometimes to just have a normal conversation and to talk about these things, because I think it happened to many people, or these are topics... just to mention, for instance, depression, suicide, these kind of things. It's stuff that are difficult to discuss openly, but I feel that both for me and for the viewers, it can be good also to hear someone being clear and honest about them, and not to transform them. Because with art, I transform it. In my case, for instance, I always make it funny. But sometimes I would like to talk about it clearly, without disguise, without a costume. I don't know how
I would be
Interesting.
I would be 100% okay with doing something like that with you,
But
because
it's very tough.
yeah, it's very tough. But what we would have to talk about, you and I, is very much connected to the broader subject of mental health.
Yeah.
And it's really, really something. I mean, in the past year, it's something that people have started to talk about. Like, you know, the people are starting to talk about mental health, but it would be nice to participate. It's still not enough. There's still so many taboos and things about mental health. And when you talk to people, you realize that there is a mental health issue somewhere within them or their family for everyone.
For
everyone.
sure.
And if everyone gets to accept this and talk about it sometimes, and you know, it will only help. And yeah.
Also because I think at the moment it's getting freer, for instance, in Europe or US, but in a lot of countries it still doesn't exist, for instance. To be depressed is not a thing. When you check statistics, everyone is depressed at least once in their life. And it's something that is okay if you handle it well. You have moments in your life where, don't know, something bad happened to you, or just it's difficult. You have some chemicals that are not working properly. So, it's something that should be discussed more openly. And at least in France, there are a lot of YouTubers or podcasters that have been more open about it. And for me, it was so good. A lot of moms also sharing about postpartum. That for me is so good that we show the truth behind what is it being depressed, and you have just given birth and you're supposed to love your child and it's not going as planned. So
and that's something
makes me feel better.
Yeah, and that's something that you can also teach people and make people discover things about it, because I discovered the existence of postpartum depression very late in my life. Like for me, I didn't even know it existed. And thanks to the people who start talking openly about that, I discovered that, sometimes there are men who want to kill themselves right after giving birth. Why? Because, you know, some imbalance or their hormones or some trauma coming back, or many reasons. But still, you hear about it, so you're like, oh, wait, fuck, it exists, that thing, and it's worth...
And it always feels better when you hear that, some people went through this and they made it. And at least for me, it was always good to see, wow, even this person that I admire, who I feel is so perfect, has been through this, has been through really big downs. And it shows you that social media and important personalities also have their downfalls. And I think it's good to remember.
Yeah, and it helps also to not feel alone. You're much better able to fight some of your own problem when you discover that, okay, there are so many people who actually have the same problem than me, so we are so many. So then it makes you feel more able to fight against it, or at least recognize it. And
And for people who are in crisis in Finland, you can call me Eli for free. M-I-E-L-I.
Yeah, actually, I don't know much. You guys can tell me, but if like the whole broad subject of mental health, it's not talked that much in Finland nowadays, right? There are some, but you know, everyone. I feel like
in Finland you don't have problems only when you are in the hospital bleeding.
Yeah,
otherwise, no problem.
I often feel like Finnish people take it as a joke. You know, when we talk about depression in Finland, I mean, depression is a serious problem, but when you talk about it with Finns, it's often taken as a joke, like, oh yeah, it's winter, so I'm depressed. Oh yeah, I'm so fucking depressed, and you know, ironically, and it's nice. It's okay to take it as a joke. Sometimes it helps, but take it always as a joke. Maybe it's not always the.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel about it?
Especially when something happens, then you're like, whoa, like I should have taken that more seriously. Yeah. It is a big subject, and I think your answer was really wrong when he asked like something that is really quick. And
you see, that's impossible for us, Vilho,
We are French.
to be quick and specific about things. We want to expand.
Yeah.
Sorry, we ruined your questions. I'm so
It's
sorry.
okay.
It's been 3 times. It's supposed to be short.
Yeah.
I am not gonna say almost anything about mental health because it's not my. I have had like a really rough childhood also, that is something I would love to talk about, like something that happened, just because I feel like it would teach people a lot, like about abuse and that kind of stuff. It would. My friend once, like when it happened, when I realized that I didn't want to talk about it at all, but when my friend told me, he said that I have a child and I would love to know that I don't like take my child to kindergarten like that or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I would love to, that's one topic. Another topic I would love to talk about is bring someone who is a specialist in cactus. There's this one YouTuber. She's like crazy. She goes like with this scientific binocular, whatever it is.
So
And
good.
she, yeah.
Passionate
Or just
people.
one guy, he has this one channel on YouTube, Shark Bites.
Yeah.
And he makes crazy videos about sharks. He's like scientist of shark, and he has made like 100 videos. Where are the biggest sharks? And I highly recommend that channel.
And just one thing to come back on what you said about discussing trauma. Sorry for the sharks and the cactus.
No.
But one thing that is difficult is, for instance, if we talk about our childhood, we are talking about people who are still alive most of the time. And so that is a difficult thing that, at least from our side, is like, haha, our parents don't speak English. They will never listen to this, or our family, or the people we are mentioning. But it can be that if it's your native language, then these people might hear about it. And that is also very difficult when it goes online.
Yeah.
Everyone can access it.
Yeah.
Would you share about shark or cactus video?
Oh, I didn't think about myself.
I would not speak.
Yeah, just quiet for 1 hour. No, maybe something niche that I would like to discuss about. Well, I really like geography.
Okay.
Like
My nightmare.
I really like that. I don't like know anything about. I don't know anything about like cities or mountains or stuff like that. But I know where like every country is, and I know every flag and everything like that. So that's like really, I don't know why, but it has been like a passion.
I want your brain.
What's the capital of Sri Lanka?
No, that's the thing that I don't know. It's
The flags, the
the
flags.
flags and the
Flags.
locations, like, and point out where that is, like the Vanuatu. Like straight away know where it is and what kind of flag it has and stuff like that.
Are you a GeoGuessr player?
No, I've never tried it, but it's
That's a cool
also,
game.
That's an interesting
But
game.
now AI is much better than us, so.
Cannot do anything fun anymore.
You two, almost like your topics would go together, mythology and
true.
languages and
Linguistics and geography, true.
Yeah.
You can do a map.
Yeah, there is still a lot to talk about always, but maybe.
But guys, 2 hours. You need to conclude.
Yeah, All right, thank you, all the listeners, and thank you, the city of Turku and the studio of Turku, who gave us this Obo Academy, who gave us this studio, these fancy mics, which are more expensive than my soul.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But thank you
but
all.
yeah, thank you for the guests and
Thank you so
all.
much.
Thank you all,
Thank you,
and
thank you.
Thank you for being both our guests and our hosts.
Yeah.
and not see you in the next episode, but see Simon.
Simon maybe and
Simon,
other.
determinated.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe we will see Noémie again, but as
No,
a,
now you need to say see me.
as a ghost, as a guest. Maybe one day in a couple of years you will have a new project, and we will invite you to talk about this.
Who
Let's
knows?
see.
Bye bye.
Bye everyone.
Radio Turku. Suomen Turku.